Hi everyone, hello. I am Joshua William Gelb, and welcome to the Theater in Quarantine. It is Thursday, August 13th, and it is 9 o'clock here in New York City. I don't know what time it is where you are, but thank you for tuning in and for joining me here in my East Village apartment where almost 5 months ago now, when we first received the stay-at-home orders, I converted the closet behind me into a white box digital performance laboratory. How can performance makers artfully push against the boundaries of social distance? How can we embrace the limitations of remoteness? That's what we're here to find out. And by we, I mean myself and an ever-expanding roster of collaborators that I've been lucky enough to work with inside of this especially limited confinement, which measures about 4 feet wide by 8 feet tall and only 2 feet deep. Now, every other week you can tune in here on my YouTube channel and see what we've come up with this time. On Thursday, August 27th, that's just 2 weeks from now, we will be premiering a new retelling of Borges' short story, The Secret Miracle, written for a chamber orchestra and spoken word, with music by Alex Weston, text by myself, and directed by John Levin. And on September 12th, we will be celebrating the opening of the Invisible Dog Art Center's new season with the closing out of our first season. So in honor of the occasion, we will be performing Closet Works Volume 4 on a Saturday. That is Saturday, September 12th. So don't miss it. And don't worry, because since the theaters aren't opening anytime soon, it looks like we're going to be back come October with a brand new season that we are putting together right now, and it is looking pretty exciting. But enough about the fall, because tonight we are here with Closet Works Volume 3, presented by The Invisible Dog, with additional support from Mamie, Kanfer, and Justin Stewart. Thank you. We have 3 pieces for you tonight, starting with one from the old YouTube playlist, And He Left, which we're performing for the first time, well, I guess second time since we did it earlier, for the second time live. And that one's got music by Alex Weston, whose piece is coming up in 2 weeks. And it has choreography from Katie Rose McLaughlin, and features a ladder that I fished out of the trash somewhere on East 9th Street a couple months ago. We'll follow that with a brand new piece created by our guest choreographer tonight, Damani Van Rensalier. It's called Acknowledge, Assess, Activate, which has drums by Brandon Scales. Lastly, you'll see the premiere of a new piece by our own artistic associate and resident movement director, who puts together Closet Works every month, Katie Rose McLaughlin. It's called 52 Hertz, A Study in Failure. The performance runs about 20 minutes, and afterwards, I'll be hanging around with Katie Rose and Damani to answer any questions you might want to drop in the comments section. Earlier tonight, we had some technical difficulties that made that not possible, but we have figured them out, crossing our fingers. And so it looks like we'll be good for the post-show talkback tonight. The performance is going to be available online indefinitely, so keep sharing the link with your friends. You can find the link and the links to the individual videos once I release them on my YouTube channel. And once you're there, consider subscribing so you don't miss out on the very exciting projects we've got coming up for you in the next couple weeks, well, as well as through December. And if you really enjoy the work tonight, consider donating. There's a link in the description to our Fractured Atlas page, and all of the proceeds will be distributed amongst the artists. Anyway, let's get started. I'm going to take a brief 1-minute break so I can get into places. Thanks again for tuning in, and enjoy Closet Works, Volume 3.
Because, you know, there are these peculiar faculties of the psyche, that it isn't entirely confined to space and time. You can have dreams or visions of the future. You can see round corners and such things. Only ignorance deny these facts. It's quite evident that they do exist and have existed always. Now these facts show that the psyche is not dependent upon these confinements. And then what? When the psyche is not under that obligation to live in time and space alone, and obviously it doesn't, then to that extent the psyche is not submitted to those laws. And that means a practical continuation of life, of a sort of psychical existence beyond time and space.
For 24 years, researchers have been tracking the migration of a whale which has a unique sonic signature, so unique that it appears to have never found a mate. The 52 Hertz whale is a unique whale that calls at a characteristic frequency of 52 Hertz, a much higher frequency than the vocalizations of most whales. It appears to be the only individual with this call, and it has been described as the world's loneliest whale. At 52 Hertz, it is just higher than the lowest note on a tuba. The call patterns resemble neither blue nor fin whales. They are shorter and more frequent, besides being at a much higher frequency. Blue whales usually vocalize at 15 to 20 Hertz, fin whales at 20. The 52 Hertz signals are highly variable in their pattern of repetition, duration, and sequence, although they are easily identifiable due to their frequency and characteristic clustering. The track of the 52 Hertz whale is unrelated to the presence or movement of other whale species. Its movements have been somewhat similar to that of blue whales, but its timing has been more of that of fin whales. It is detected in the Pacific Ocean every year, beginning in August through December, and moves out of range of the hydrophones in January and February. It travels as far north as the Kodak Islands and as far south as the California coast, swimming between 30 and 70 kilometers each day. Its recorded distance traveled per season has ranged from a low of 700 kilometers to a high of 11,000 kilometers in 2002 to 2003. Whatever biological cause underlies its unusually high voice does not seem to be detrimental to its survival. The fact that the whale has survived and apparently matured indicates that it is probably healthy. Still, it is the only one of its kind detected anywhere, and there is only one such source per season. Because of this, the animal has been called the loneliest whale in the world. William Watkins of the Woods Hole Oceanic Institute, who invented the first underwater recording system, first heard 52 Hertz's unique high-pitched song back in 1989 when he was studying the mating calls of male whales, which are far more vocal than females. On average, these tones had a center frequency of 51.75 Hertz and lasted 5 to 7 seconds. These tones are usually produced in groups of 2 to 6 and were recorded in the Northeast Pacific. The U.S. Navy's sophisticated billion-dollar hydrophone system, designed to track Soviet nuclear submarines during the Cold War, recorded his migratory patterns in great detail each year, cruising from Central California to the Kodak Islands in the North Pacific. He always travels solo, unrelated to the presence or movement of other whale species, according to the original report in Deep Sea Journal. However, the Defense Department only releases data days after 52 Hertz has moved on, too late for scientists to dispatch vessels to meet him in person. Unsurprisingly, the cash-strapped U.S. Navy has little interest in pursuing a solitary, lovesick whale.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for watching, for joining us tonight. It's such a pleasure having you all here performing. I'm a little sweaty. That mask in the middle of August is a lot. But I have the AC running, so I hope it doesn't make too much noise as I try to zoom in Katie Rose and Damani Van Rensalier, who are going to join us tonight for a little conversation. So thank you all. If you'll just be patient for a moment, I am going to figure out how to do this correctly. We'll see. Hopefully I have the right meeting ID this time, which was really foreboding the first time around when I didn't even get that right. But I think I know what I did wrong. Uh-huh. Oh yes, this is looking good. Huh. Thanks, everyone. Oh, thank you all.
Oh, I forgot to tell you why I had to change the meeting ID. Which is because...
hold on one second, you two. I'm here, and I'm going to try and see if we can make this happen. Oh, there I am. Oh, this is good. Say something, Katie Rose.
Hi.
Wonderful. I can hear you.
Yay.
So it would seem that I can hear you, and you can all hear me, and it would seem that everyone can hear all of us. Katie Rose, will you say hi?
Hello.
Looking good so far, and now they should be able to see us as well. Hi. I think this is working. We won't know for sure for 20 seconds, but it does. Oh wait, I should probably have my earbuds in.
Oh no.
Should
That's how we
I?
ran into trouble last time.
Maybe I shouldn't.
Yeah.
If it's working and people can hear us, then maybe we should just let it be. It's working. We won't know for sure for 20 seconds, but
It's working.
it's working!
Yeah, don't.
I'm not putting in
let's
these
not mess
terrible
with the good
headphones. No, we're not going to touch that. Okay, good. Hold on one sec. I'm just going to get us back into performance mode so we don't do anything weird or the internet doesn't start slowing down on us. But hi. Hello, I'm so glad to see you and talk to you in front of people, and it's working. So firstly, let's start from the very beginning here. Firstly, Katie Rose McLaughlin, Damani Van Rensalier, hi. Thank you so much for being part of this and joining us in the closet. We're just so thrilled to have you. Katie Rose, as always, thank you so much for just organizing everything and making this such an incredible evening. I'm going to pour myself a little beer. Would you mind introducing Damani?
It would be my honor and pleasure.
Everyone,
this is Damani. Damani is our guest choreographer for this evening. I have had the pleasure of knowing Damani because she made her Broadway debut in Katie's Town a year ago today. So happy anniversary, Damani. It's so exciting. Thank you. I miss you. I miss the show. But it feels really exciting to be able to be here and to present you and your beautiful artistry. I've always admired you, not only as the incredible performer you are, but also the incredible and inquisitive mind and just thoughtful human that you are. So this is really exciting for us to have you. A little bit about Damani, those of you who don't know this beautiful human. She got her BFA in dance at Mason Gross School of the Arts, which is part of Rutgers. And she's performed, we didn't get a chance to talk about this last time, but like you've performed works by so many incredible choreographers, Yvonne Rainier, Bill T. Jones, Laura Lubavitch, Donna Uccidono, just like so many greats, which is probably what makes you such a special dancer. And just thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. It was so much fun.
David McPherson says there's a lot of echo with the two of you. Hold on one sec. I'm going to turn off my AC. David, unfortunately, we had a lot of issues with the talk back earlier today, most of which came from me plugging in my headphones. So the solution would appear to be plugging in my headphones, but unfortunately it is not. I'm just going to turn off my AC, though, which might help with the sound a little bit, maybe. Hoping.
Great.
Okay.
Let's hope.
Let's hope.
I feel like
I don't think that.
No, I don't. I just checked in on the feed, and it's not actually as bad as it was for the talk back that we did with Raja. So it's not good. Sorry, friends, but
as always,
awful.
I mean, I can try to plug these in, but do we dare?
At least this time I got to actually introduce Damani.
I kind of feel like it might be better just to leave it where it is and actually chat a bit about the piece and the work this time, in case these headphones decide to ruin everything again. So, firstly, Damani, it's been such a pleasure getting to meet you. It was my first time getting to meet you at all and work with you, of course. I don't consider myself a dancer, so it's always deeply like terrifying whenever like someone who can really move comes into the closet and we start working together, and it's 2 weeks. It's a really crazy schedule, and I was just excited to hear about what the experience was like for you.
Yeah. Well, I think you should not say that you're not a mover because you are. That was my, I think, favorite, like, discovery or, like, journey throughout the whole thing was getting to work with you and seeing how whatever it was that I came up with or whatever vision I thought I had in my brain, translated in an entirely different way on your body, which is either here or there. It just created a different visual. And so I think that was the most fun that I had was getting to see. And then again, I'm not in the space, so trying to visualize it in my room and trying to create movement that, I thought would maybe fit in the 2x4x8, which didn't, it just was a good trial and error situation that sometimes I don't find myself. Sometimes I like being in control of spaces. I'm going to say all the time, I like being in control of spaces. And so this was a very nice way of exploring what that felt like letting go of control and allowing it to be what it was while still having intention. Like, I never want to create something that doesn't have substance. And so, I had that idea of what I wanted it to feel like. And then everything else just kind of fell into whatever place that was. So it was definitely a different experience. I've never had rehearsal. Hopefully they can still hear us with those headphones. I've never had rehearsal.
It's looking good. It's looking good.
Okay. Okay, good. Never had rehearsal virtually, so that was also a new experience. A fun experience, a different experience. I think every experience is just that, an experience, and it teaches you. And so that's what this was, and I had a lot of fun.
Oh, thank you. We're trying to siphon the audio from Zoom into OBS. Oh, John says it worked. Yeah, I think that was it. Your feed, your audio was just going through my microphone and making an echo. So that's all. So it worked. So thank goodness to these terrible headphones whose little furry thing I think is somewhere stuck in my ear canal now. So that's great.
I want to very quickly give a shout out to Justin Nestor, who not only picked up my SOS call halfway through the like during our break, and I was just like, we need help, this didn't work. Like, I think it's very important to like hear from Damani and like hear about like what the artists have to say. Can you please help us? And he did, and did it fast enough that we are here where we are.
Thank you, Justin.
Thank
we
you,
see
Justin.
you out there. Thank you. This is, I think I'll say it. This is, I think, our most dance heavy week we've ever done.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. I know, because I'm sweating more than I feel like I usually do. And I had the AC running, so that says a lot. Katie Rose, all I need to tell you right now is that my mother apparently cried through the whale piece.
Oh, I'm sorry, Cam.
Yeah, that's something I learned. So I guess well done. As we're talking about my mother making, or Katie Rose making my mother cry, again, I just want to say if anyone has any questions about the work or about what we're doing, please put them in the comments section. It looks like we figured out the audio situation, so you can all stop complaining about that and can ask questions. Yeah, you definitely made my mother cry.
Good job, Katie Rose.
I think it's so something that I have always been hesitant. I'm very like just hesitant about technology in general. I'm not very like tech minded. I'm sort of the last one to adopt a new technology. It takes me a while to learn. I am my father's daughter, who is like my dad, like gets a piece of technology and it like breaks. Like it just doesn't work the way it's supposed to. So I feel like I come from that place, and the idea of making choreography and the idea of making theater, which to me is like a very visceral, like in the room, feeling the vibes of the people that are in the room with me. That's to me what theater is. And so it was hard for me to think about how I could create that feeling over a medium that has always felt so both impersonal, but also like insurmountable. So I'm like first very grateful for you for creating this platform, and also that that we've always set out to try to make work that gives us the same feelings that live theater gives us. And so I don't want to make anybody's mother cry. I feel very grateful that we were able to, through our experiments and through our trials and errors, come up with a way to like get people to actually feel things in this like live medium, and this like through screen medium.
An extension to my question is from Charles: is the whale story a real story?
The whale story is a real story, Charles. His name is 52 Hertz. They think he's a male whale because apparently male whales are much more vocal than female whales. And usually, apparently, I don't know anything about whales, but the scientists say that they can pick up male whale calls much more than female whale calls. So they think that he's a male, and he's swimming these crazy, going from the Kodak Islands up in Canada, like northern Canada, like Yukon Peninsula.
And by Alaska, yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And then swimming down to California, swimming this sort of loop every year since the hydrophones were used for oceanic surveillance, which was like right after the Cold War. So 1989 was when scientists started using them. And that's when they found this whale and have been tracking him. No other whale calls at a frequency that high, which basically means that no one can hear him. Like no one can hear him. He can't find anyone. His call is unlike any other whale call. Apparently it's very frequent, much more frequent than other whale calls. and they've never heard any other whale in the world make this call. So as far as they know, it's this singular whale. They don't even know what species the whale is. They're like, the migratory pattern is, I'm going to mess this up, but the migratory pattern is like similar to a blue whale, but the way that it calls is similar to a fin whale. So they don't even know what the species is because they can't find it, because they don't have the money to go tracking it. But I heard the story in a podcast, and it just felt, I was in that walk. I was taking a walk. I was listening to a podcast, and I was like, what's the next piece I really want to make for the closet? Because I feel like it's important that the pieces always have something to do with now and need to happen. And I was like, I don't really know what I want to make. And then I heard this story of this sad whale. I'm personifying it. It could be a happy whale. Who knows? And so I wanted to explore that in this piece. Very true story. 52 Hertz, do some research. I heard a thing on This American Life, which is where I first heard about it.
Yeah. Damani, I mean, speaking of like the inspiration, how do you get inspired to make something in a closet? Where did that come from?
I think anything that I begin to create, I think about, which Katie Rose just kind of touched on, which she just said we're talking about the now. We talk a lot about the now in our work. And I think that's where I run to kind of in even in the beginning stages of planning a work or thinking about a work is what is happening around me, or what am I thinking about? How am I feeling? Like those are I always go internal first. And then I'm exploring like, okay, what is the world like? Like, what is it that I want to, and I think this is more recently, I think since quarantine, especially, I've been interested in like work that holds substance and that has intentionality and not just a piece to be a piece or a dance to be a dance. You know, I want it to feel like something for the dancers, for the artist, as well as for me and those watching it. Because that ultimately is what art is supposed to do. And so, yeah, for the closet work, I thought about, again, what I was feeling and what the thoughts were in my mind, and also just going off of all of the amazing things that the closet could do. Like, it's almost like just giving you a clean slate and then drawing your art. Like, there were so many possibilities, and I feel like sometimes when I have too many possibilities, I get really frustrated. Which this definitely, I was like, do I spin the circle? Do I bring 3 light bulbs? There's just so many possibilities. And so when we were just talking, you were like, well, I can do this. I kind of just like, okay, this is cool. Let's play with it. And again, going back to the letting it be what it was, I didn't want to force anything upon it. Like, just whatever I felt clicked in that moment, and just allowed it to manifest in the way that it wanted to.
That's so beautiful. And also for those of you in the audience who aren't makers, that's actually one of the hardest things I feel like to do as a maker, is to just allow inspiration to take you. So often we're like, we have 5 hours in a studio to make a piece, and then it has to perform, and like we have to know what the lighting looks like and all of these things. And I feel like it's both so brave and so honest to do what you're talking about.
Yeah. And I mean, probably worth mentioning that with Closet Works right now, we're really on a 2-week schedule. So I think 2 weeks ago, we got together and met and started building this. And it was very exciting because you came in with like a ton of material. And I was like, I'm going to dance. I have to do turns.
Which is so opposite. I really was like, for some reason, time, I can't decipher time in my head. Like, it just doesn't. So like when I hear 3 minutes, I don't know. So I came with like, okay, this should be enough for today. Like, this should be enough for a good minute. And then we ended up with like over 3 minutes the first rehearsal. And I was like, okay, so I wasn't I don't know. I don't know. And again, creating in my room. So it felt less physical, which is strange because I had more space. But I don't know.
It felt real physical from here.
Yeah, I could imagine. I so could imagine. And you looked great. You killed it. Boom.
Well, thank you. Hilariously, those of you who didn't catch the 7 p.m., the light bulb was hung suspiciously low. I don't know if you caught that, Damani.
Not at all.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was like right above my head in the earlier show. Because I was trying a new way of hooking it up. And so, like, I had to keep bending my knees in order to make it look like I was reaching up.
Well, you can't see your knees in that jumpsuit, so we couldn't tell.
That's amazing. That's really great. This time it was hung right. And also, it's because we're getting a question about the inspiration behind the performances. So in terms of the first piece, the inspiration was really finding a ladder in the trash. And John Levin, who I believe might still be in the comments section, and who directed Seventh Voyage 2 weeks ago. Was that only 2 weeks ago? Oh, wow. Was really interested in having a ladder in that piece that eventually we did not end up using. But I found a ladder in the trash, and so I called John and said, should I pick up this ladder? And he said, absolutely, and so I did. And then we had this ladder, which was no longer being used in that piece, so we decided to make something else for it. And that's what came about. And I think when we were doing a lot more just like videos for the internet at that moment, right, Katie Rose? Yeah. We kind of do a lot less of that now because I think the schedule of making the live work has sort of overwhelmed us. But you know, a couple
always pick up the ladder.
Yeah, so true, John. But yeah, so back then we were still messing around with material. I would just wake up in the morning and say, hey, let's make a thing. And I'd stay up until who knows how late, just like shooting take after take till we got it right. And so that one's online already. And what we were excited to do was, as we've been doing kind of retroactively with a lot of our earlier work, is trying to find ways of making them live pieces. And I'm not exactly satisfied with where And He Left turned out. In the same way, I'm not exactly satisfied with the original, to be honest. Like, I was hoping that the compositing we used on Seventh Voyage would have helped us to build And He Left live. And actually, it's a lot more complicated. And so it's fine, but it is not... It's still not the piece I'd like it to be. And I have a distinct feeling it would take a fair amount more digital work to really figure it out. But I'm glad we did it. And, you know, I swear, a minute and a half piece, so whatever.
And literally every time it happened, Damani was like, I keep forgetting how short that piece is.
It's like you start getting into it and it's like...
Yeah.
Done.
You should just do it like 4 times in a row. But that brings up a good point, Josh, that is the Leanne says you will never be
Thank you, Leanne. Thank you. Cue music.
This is a true statement. That it's been interesting to try to like sort of retroactively figure out how to do things that we just did like with video effects live. Can you talk a little bit about because we've actually done that a lot now, what the sort of challenges or what the excitement is, or...
Well, I mean, I think we always intended this for theater in quarantine to be about what it means to make theater. And ultimately, theater is about liveness. And we started out with a series of videos that, you know, were just pre-recorded. But the aim was always to do them live. And to always make them with the intention of liveness. And so what that means is, particularly for those pieces, I've had to do a lot of work on the back end, figuring out Isadora and live video processing. in order to, and we use Isadora, there are many other programs, but in order to figure out what it means to take something which will take easily 20 minutes to throw into a video processor, and to instead turn it into a choreographed video sequence that can cue me, and conceivably in some cases I can cue it. Actually, I have more to say about Damani's piece in terms of that. But it's been complicated and exciting. This is one of the hardest ones because And He Left is the first time we're integrating a loop into it. It's almost missable, but it is the first time we've done it. So that's been really exciting. Similarly, Damani's piece is the first time we have any actual interactivity between video and the performer. So the video is indeed, I don't know if there was any static reactions this time. There were earlier in a dress run that I did, but all the static is based off of the movement and is actually reading my body. So that is really exciting. And, it may not be the most, dramaturgically rigorous thing there ever was, but, it's exciting as a first... But that's, I think, what Closet Works is about for me, is, you bring in a piece of movement, and you said static. And I was like, okay, yeah, let's figure out how we can get static to happen in this piece. Yeah. And it finally was there's the opportunity that I can use to finally get... because I know it's possible to get the computer to watch my movement and register it and see if it'll react. And that's what we did, and it is possible. So that's very exciting. And hopefully we'll just keep figuring these things out and utilizing them as we go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Damani, I'm interested in hearing also, if you don't mind, just a little bit more about that collaboration, about the I see static, and then Josh going and it's just such a different, I feel like I've spent a lot of time talking about it, but it's such a treat to have another person making work in this medium. And I'm just so interested in sort of how that collaboration worked and the satisfaction of it, or the unsatisfactory nature of it. There's no physical feedback
right
that you usually get. So yeah.
It was this, I think it was the same idea with the movement, giving him, verbally saying something and then seeing how that was interpreted by his body. And then the same way with the visuals, kind of just, because initially when you guys were anything you can think of, he can do it. I'm let's test that a little bit, but
I think we said we would try to do it.
Okay, yes, okay.
To the best of our ability.
But that just was, again, there's always so much room for room. There's just room for space for it to be what it needs to be. And so when I said, well, what else do you have? And he goes, well, I have this, and I have a mask, and I have a light bulb. And I'm like, oh, a light bulb. But in my head, I wasn't seeing, when he brought out the light bulb, it wasn't what I was initially thinking, but it worked. And then I said, let's do some static. And in my head, I saw it's TV static, or the grainy static. And then when he put it in, and it his reverb off the wall kind of created this swirly static, I was like, well, I didn't even, it's things that happen, the outcome are things that you can't even think of. They only happen when you allow it to happen. So I think that was just the greatness in it, is just whenever you let it, and that's a life lesson. Okay, you just let it be what it's gonna be, and there can be beauty in that, and that was, it's so crazy how that just aligned with one of the things that I feel quarantine and COVID and all of the greatness that is happening now, is how that kind of correlated with that, letting it be what it is and allowing it, whatever to come out of it, to come out of it. And so Isadora is great, and the possibilities are endless.
They are
So
indeed.
that was fun.
And a call out from Leanne to blob tracking, and that's indeed correct. That's what we used, blob tracking. I am the blob, and we tracked it.
Wow.
That's like the technical term for it.
Yeah, that's the technical term.
Blob tracking.
That's
Yeah.
like a lot of judgment.
It is. It really is. It's a designer judgment on dancers, I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what Isadora was really fundamentally for, like interaction with dancing bodies and video. Yeah.
Is it named after Isadora Duncan?
Wow, I don't know, Leanne.
I mean, it's such a, like the first time I heard Isadora, I was like, "Oh, weird." Is it named? But then I was like, "Why would a piece of technology be named after a dancer who like loved to dance around in togas?"
Right. True.
Lovely.
Totally.
A little bit of modern dance.
I'll take a brief moment here.
Oh my gosh, Justin says it is.
It is? Really?
That's nuts.
That's really exciting. I feel like we just cracked something. Something just opened up for us.
Yeah, totally.
More Isadora Duncan pieces, apparently.
Okay.
Oh, wow. You mean... Oh, wait. What is going on? You're there alone?
Yes,
There's no
Charles.
tech person running machines off camera.
Yes,
Charles. Hi there, Charles. Yes, that is so true. I am all alone here. I always want to turn the camera around and show stuff, but the last time I did that, we disconnected, and it was always a bad move, remember?
Yeah.
But yeah, I am...
Oh, Charles, you can look. There's some like behind the scenes videos on YouTube that Josh posted that you can see what his actual apartment looks like, but he is there by himself.
I am all alone right here. There's no one running it. Everything is being done. Right now, with Closet Works in general, we just time it to the music. Occasionally, we've done pieces where I have a go button in the space. 2 weeks ago with Seventh Voyage was the first time we had a tech operator, Florian Staub, amazing, in the room with me, very socially distanced, wore a mask the entire day, I swear. So it is totally, we're totally alone here. And I am alone, which is, I think, probably why my mother cried when she watched the whale piece, and
I'm so sorry.
and probably why this whole thing happened in the first place, which is to say, theater in quarantine is really a reaction to my aloneness in so many ways, Katie Rose. I think you'd agree. Like, I was, when the stay-at-home orders happened, fine, that's all well and good, but I live in a neighborhood where I don't have that many friends. My brother lives 10 blocks away, and that's about it. And I live alone. And so I don't, I found myself trapped in my own mind for way too long, which I think was about 3 weeks before I turned the closet into a theater. And that's how it came about, and that's how we function for the most part. And, is it perfect? No, not at all. But it is, it's exciting to find ways, and I mean, it's been my way of reaching out to people and finding ways to work and meet people, which is so exciting. How does anyone get to meet people right now? But I get to meet Damani, and I get to work with Damani, and that's so exciting to me right now. So that's, anyways, that's what the closet does for me personally. I don't know why I keep addressing the comments section like that's where the camera is, but it's not. It's here. But that's what it does for me personally. That's why I think the closet exists in general. But it's exciting that it's becoming more than that, and that's great. Yeah.
I think if I were to be a shameless plug here, I think if I were to connect the intention behind what I created with what you just said, because the intention behind what I created was somewhat personal, but it could be universal. Like it really could mean something different for everyone. And so you took that time, you acknowledged how you felt, you assessed the situation, and then you activated the power that you had to bring such a community together that you didn't even know was possible until you sat with the situation, allowed it to be what it was, and then took the greatness out of it and created this like amazing, innovative like situation here. So I think, yeah, that was a little thing.
Oh,
but I think
geez,
that's
please.
No, Damani, that was stunning. That's so right. And thank you for those words like that. I feel like the words, those, it's so right. You're so right.
Yeah. So just I'm like proud of you, and I've known you for like 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
I'm just proud of what this is. It's just such a great avenue for us as choreographers, as creatives, and then for anyone else desperately missing the liveness of art, which I am as well. But
we all are right now. We're missing it, and I it's funny. I feel the realness of it every 2 weeks when we do this. I hope that people watching it feel it. It's always tricky. You never know. But yeah, no, it's, I think it's a real rush whenever like, half hour comes and I start to realize like, wow, I'm still doing something live.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really wonderful to get to talk to you both right now. And this is actually working. Again, thank you, Justin. Because again, usually these like talkbacks are me just talking to myself, which is super strange. And so it feels so much less awkward this way. And now that we figured it out, at least we can do this again. So that's good. I think we figured out a real way to do it. Yeah. Oh. Well, it's 10 o'clock. I don't know if anyone has any other questions aside from coming up with blob tracking as the new piece. Oh, Leanne says that was beautiful. I assume that was to Damani because that was about 20 seconds ago.
I'm just going to attribute everything actually to Damani.
Yeah. I think that's right. Yeah. So, I don't know. Katie Rose, do you have any other like thoughts that you want to add?
No. I just want to like really thank Damani for her artistry and for joining us and for embracing. It's an unusual medium, and also it's like not very often. Like usually when a choreographer gets a commission, it's like whatever you want to make. Bring in your dancers, arrange the studio time, blah blah blah. But this was like, here is your dancer. His name is Josh. Also, he's not a dancer, but he moves really well. Which, like, and it's nice probably for Josh to hear from other people other than myself to be like, you actually are a dancer. Like, you're very good at this.
No, I'll keep saying I'm not. But
but it's been really exciting to watch you embrace this, the way that we make work, but also make something that felt really true and really personal to yourself and like what you wanted to, what you wanted to explore and investigate right now. I just like really thank you for bringing yourself to this piece. It was such an honor and such a pleasure.
Yeah, truly.
Thank you both. Thank you for thinking of me. I always say that. Thank you for thinking of me. And I'm honored to have shared the virtual space with both of you and witnessing, Josh, your very strong dance movement and exploration of what the heck was in my head. It's been a pleasure. And it helped me grow in many ways that I will take with me beyond this. So thank you.
Oh, I'm so glad. And it was such a like absolutely incredible experience getting to work with you. And truly, you challenged me in ways like you made me dance in ways I have not ever danced before. So it's really exciting. And thank you. Katie Rose, thank you too, because you made my mom cry. But Also, thank you for putting this week together, and just every time you put Closet Works together, I'm just so excited, and I know it just means so much to the project, to be like expanding the roster of collaborators, and also I'm like hitting my lights. I might have swallowed a fly too.
Oh my god! I saw a fly during the thing.
No, during the show.
Yes. Just
Gotta
once.
I've got to get him.
And I think it was during the first piece. It was impressive though.
Oh, who cares about that one? No, but really, thank you, and it's such a pleasure, and thank you to the Invisible Dog, of course. Thank you, Lucienne, and yeah, thank you, Mamie Kanfer. Thank you, Justin Stewart. Truly, you're making this possible, and we will be back. I'm going to do a little shameless plugging here for a moment. We're going to be back in 2 weeks with a brand new long form piece. We call them long form. It doesn't mean they're long. It just means they're longer.
Longer than 5 minutes.
Longer than 5, yeah. We should call them longer than 5. No, this one is it's a piece I've been working on for years, and that we you know, it's one of those that probably would never have seen the light of day, and then comes quarantine, and suddenly it's the only thing we should work on. So it's an adaptation, or a retelling, I should probably say, because adaptation is not correct. It's a retelling, if not a complete retranslation of Borges' short story, The Secret Miracle. I did a completely new verse translation of it, and Alex Weston has composed a new chamber opera score to accompany it. And John Levin is directing. Katie Rose is going to be working on it. And we've got some really exciting things that are happening, some of which will be premiered tomorrow night at... I should plug this, I suppose.
Yeah, we have shows that we haven't made yet, but it's going to happen tomorrow, and it's going to be great.
Yes, Culture Hub does the Downtown Variety Show with La Mama. They do it about once a month, I believe, and we are part of it tomorrow night. And we kind of have made a thing, but we haven't quite made the whole thing yet. And we're going to make it tomorrow. But it's using a lot of the techniques we're working on with the Borges, and we're really excited to be playing with them. And we're going to make 3 minutes for tomorrow night, and I swear it's going to be great. But that's happening in 2 weeks, and I just can't be more excited for it. So yeah, that's happening. And then 2 weeks after that, well, actually, I guess a little more than 2 weeks. Technically, 2 weeks and 3 days, because it is the first time we will not be on a Thursday. We are going to be on a Saturday. It is the end of our season, our spring summer season. We'll call it inaugural quarantine season, or pandemic season, whatever. But it is the
pandemic.
It's the opening of Invisible Dog's official season, and they've been so supportive.
And the opening of their building for the first time since pandemic.
Thank you for saying
like
that.
It's like the
physical building.
The physical, yeah. Physical and metaphysical opening.
Both openings happening. And we're just so thrilled that they've been so supportive of us. And so thank you, Lucienne. Thank you, the Invisible Dog Art Center. And so, yeah, we'll be there on September 12th. It's a Saturday at 7 and 9. We're still going to do 2 shows, is the plan, right? I don't know if we ever talked about that. Yeah. Still the plan to do 7 and 9. We'll still be here. We will not be in Brooklyn. We'll still be here online, but we will be doing our performance in honor of their opening. And then we're going to take a very brief break, considering. I guess only 3 weeks. So we're going to take 1 week off, considering.
Yeah.
And then we're back in October. And we're going to do October through December. We've got an exciting season that we are putting together.
Very exciting.
Yeah. With a bunch more Closet Works coming at you. A couple more long form pieces.
5 minutes.
Longer than 5. Longer than 5. And I'm just so excited. I hope you join us. Subscribe if you can. Share if you can. Thank you so much to Katie Rose. Thank you so much to Damani for joining us. I'm going to finish plugging and just say thank you all for tuning in tonight. We don't know how much longer this is going to last. I keep hoping that we can program towards a second person going in the closet, hoping that there's not a second wave. We just don't know. No one knows anything. So in the meantime, we're going to keep going this way, and when this is over, who knows? This may continue because it's a lot of fun, and it's been just a delight getting to meet people like you, Damani, and it's always a pleasure getting to work with you, Katie Rose. Thank you all so much. I am Joshua William Gelb. This is Theater in Quarantine. It's 10:10 in New York City. I don't know where you are, but I was trying a new sign-off.
Yes, it worked. It was great.
Well, thank you all again. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Have a good night.
Yay!